Very good afternoon to everyone. For this live session, talking about design as careers, I would like to really welcome all of you who have come live, waiting for us, and looking out for information to get your career started in design. We are really happy and elated to have an expert, dignitary, educationist. How many adjectives I should put? I have known him for long now, and he is one of the top experts in design in the industry. And we have him today for this live session. I would take the opportunity to introduce him. Before that, I would like to introduce me so that we can start it from here. I am Sonali Bhatia from Creative Edge by Top Rankers, and we do these sessions to have insights about design industry, जहां आप अपने questions पूछ सकते हैं, aspirants अपने मन की बात कर सकते हैं, कुछ ऐसे लोगों से बात कर सकते हैं जो आपके questions को बहुत apt answer कर सकें, क्योंकि आज इंटरनेट के वर्ल्ड में हमें बहुत सारे लोग as guides and mentors मिलते हैं, but we feel if you get the expert guidance for your career, उससे बेहतर कुछ नहीं हो सकता, right? So मैं as product head for Creative Edge and a counselor for more than 2 decades now, would like to take this opportunity and put your questions forward to Bala sir and have some of them answered, right? So starting with Bala sir के introduction से, Professor A. Bala Subramaniam sir is alumnus of NID. He is 1985 batch pass out from NID Ahmedabad and has taught in all ACE institutes like NID, NIFT, SPA, which is an architecture top college. He is presently the founding director of Institute of Design of JKLU Jaipur. One more accolade this year has come to him as president of Association of Designers of India, which I think last month only he was awarded with, and his term starts from 2022 and 24. Welcome on this live, sir. We are so happy to have you, and please come on board and let's talk about design.
Okay, thank you very much, Sonali, and I'm happy to be here. I'm happy that you've been doing this service for design for a long time. So I'm sure many people have benefited from your intervention, and I'm happy to be here to help you out in this. So let's start.
Thank you, sir. As I said, that I've been doing career counselings for last 2 decades. यहाँ पे जो भी चीजें मैं पूछूंगी, कहीं ना कहीं वो इन counselings में आई हुई हैं. Design as a stream is growing very drastically, but is not accepted very fast with maybe the parents. बच्चे बहुत creative होते हैं. I am sure that students want to explore in this time. If I go back in our student age time or years, we had very specific options to choose from. But ab aisa nahi hai. Even the students want to explore. They realize that they have some innate talent, and let's work out on other options other than engineering and medical. So toprankers.com is actually a platform which caters to non-design, non-engineering and non-medical careers. So as I just said, design stream is increasing, as in growing drastically. But in बच्चों को ये नहीं पता कि इसके beyond what education they should target or what kind of opportunities they have in this stream. So if you can throw some light on this for the kids.
Yeah, see, I started my career, just one second. Sorry. I started my career in the late 70s of 1970s, you know, and nobody knew about design even then. And my parents didn't know what I was doing. And I had an aunt who said, if you want to learn embroidery, why do you have to go to Ahmedabad for that? And I just took a chance with the whole process of learning design. I wanted to do architecture. I was very keen on architecture. But when I heard about design and NIT, etc., it triggered my creative whatever muscles, and so I decided to explore it. The thing to say is that I had the liberty of choosing my career, which many students these days don't have. I mean, they have to go by what their parents say, and the parents, if they don't know what design is, then they're very edgy and they're very unsure about what their child is getting into, which is understandable. But design from my time when I was joined to now has really gone in leaps and bounds and increased. The number of colleges have increased, the number of institutions and people who are involved in design has increased. And that's also because the industry has understood the value what design brings to the table. And so that makes all the difference. And design is actually value adding service. So whatever you do it better. And designers are trained to do that. So it has potential for it has a lot of potential in terms of okay, I don't know, I'm blanking out this now. So what I'm saying is it has a good future, it has a good present, and it has a good future too. So I think students should explore the possibility of becoming a designer. Because see, what happens is design is very unacademic. Okay, so marks are not such a big criteria. I mean, there is a cutoff because you don't want to take on everybody. But most institutions have a very liberal kind of an admission process. If you are creative, you can show it in a variety of ways. It doesn't have to come in marks. And so they look at the portfolio work, which is shown at the time of an interview. And the students are judged upon the work that they've done. And if you can show a creative streak and prove to them that you have a creative ability, then most colleges, especially the private ones, will take you on. And so there is a lot of opportunities out there for the students for this. Yeah.
From your answer, I could see that there is a lot of opportunity. So, and I would really like to add up to it that because the one reason that I see why parents are very skeptical, क्योंकि उस समय पे शायद जब education industry grow हो रही थी, तब most of the people had taken these courses as hobby courses or small time certifications. So parents are still skeptical. Are there proper degree programs in this, or they are UGC approved? So I would really like to state that these are proper degree programs. BDES, MDES are proper UGC approved degree programs. There are big universities taking those courses. So all students, our viewers out there, ये बहुत अच्छा stream है जहाँ पे proper formulated education आपको मिलता है. And always remember, you want to, whenever make career in something, have proper education into it to have better career. So, sir, when we largely talk about design, जो पहला perception किसी का भी आता है, या if you talk about design as a stream to choose, हमेशा बच्चों को ये question पूछा जाता है कि अच्छा fashion interior करना है, because majorly बच्चा या as a layman they only know design industry as fashion or interior or animation. These are the terms that are generally known to people.
Yeah.
So there are main important things beyond, or streams, disciplines beyond it, like product design, industrial design, automobile design. UI UX is something which is growing. So would you like to tell us about it?
Yeah. See, fashion is in your face. So it's something which everybody comes across. And there are designer accessories, there are designer bags, there are designer shoes. So the word designer gets associated with fashion and accessories. It's been associated for a long time. But design itself is an activity which is giving a creative solution to a problem. So it's actually a problem-solving activity. Fashion is not. Fashion is adding value to your outfit or to your apparel. But design itself, as it's taught in most of the places, it's a problem-solving activity. So when it's a product design, you want to make it safer, you want to make it cheaper, you want to make it better, better function, and lesser materials, and eco-friendly, and less packaging, and all those aspects are taken into account. That makes a product better. And it's very important these days to do that. And we can't afford to pollute the planet more and more. So we need to make sure that whatever we use is judiciously done. And those decisions are taken by a designer and like a product designer. And so if you look at it as a problem solving activity, it gets extended to other fields as well. So for instance, if you are using an app, and anybody who's booked a Tatkal ticket on an app will know what I'm talking about. It's so terrible. So you realize that why does somebody design something like this? I mean, because it's not taken into account the user. The user is central for a designer. Everything works around the user. So if it's user friendly, then you've made it to your designers made it. And I find that most people don't understand this. They think it's only aesthetics. It's putting lipstick on a pig. It's not that. It's much more than that. And it's a very serious profession. It's not a frivolous profession. And it's gaining momentum now, especially with design thinking being used in a variety of places, including management. Design is becoming central to all the courses, actually. Yeah.
I would really agree, sir, that most of the streams that we are seeing today have a very dominant angle of design or designers into it. Maybe it is a technology or a product. So jo bhi hum, even if viewers would like to see around in their room where they are sitting, everything that they see, right from a pencil to their phones or to lights, fans, everything is designed first and then manufactured. So designers are really getting encouraged in all streams these days. All our viewers or students who are looking forward to get into design stream have got awareness about top colleges or getting through these colleges. So first question that generally comes to students' mind, how important is drawing to get through these exams? So it is, does they require to really ace drawing as a skill?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Drawing as a skill is not as important as drawing as a medium of communication. So it is not like, we are not looking at artists. People who can do mandalas are not going to become better designers. But people who can draw a product, the way it is to be opened, the way it's meant to be serviced, the way it's meant to be used, the way you meant to be assembled. Now, if you can communicate all that through a sketch, then you have the talent for design. And even if you don't have that talent, but if you are able to communicate in any which way through words, I look at words, I look at putting together a paper model and showing something. You pick up a packaging material and make something out of it. There are several ways of showing creativity. Drawing is just one aspect of that. And I personally don't encourage artists to join design because it's a different field. Art is a very different field. Art is for yourself. Design is for others. So that's the major difference. So you can draw a painting of a horse and say, this is the way I like it. So nobody can question that. But if you are going to draw a vehicle with a horse, you have to make sure that it's written and drawn properly. Yeah.
Okay.
So drawing, so drawing is not such an important aspect in the whole exercise. It's only for communication. Yeah.
Even when I counsel students, ये मैं बहुत predominantly उनको समझाने की कोशिश करती हूँ कि drawing you should consider it as a language. अगर आज मेरे विचार बहुत अच्छे हैं, I think very beautifully, or I have a thought that I want to convey, but I don't know the proper vocabulary for it. I do not have apt words for it. I won't be able to convey my message. या गलत चला जाएगा, right? तो वो चीज हम ध्यान में रखें कि it should be learned as a language, because you need to think and then draw what you think. So it is not about copying something. It is about showing the world, yes, conveying your thoughts and your design into a physical form. So thank you very much for giving me a heads up what I have been doing in my counselings. So from here, I feel if drawing is something that we are using as a medium to convey, so what all other aspects are these exams looking for? What are the measurement points for these exams that students should work on?
See, an ability to ask questions. an ability to observe and record, and an ability to be creative in a solution, an ability to solve a problem. Those are the abilities that actually make a designer. And to do that, so the entrance exam usually has these tests where you're given a situation and you're supposed to solve the problem. And how creatively will you do that is what is looked at. I remember at my interview in NID, they pointed out a chimney out of the window, and they said that this chimney is black. What color will you like to give it? So I said, why give it a color at all? Because it's going to become black all over again. So at that point, I just intuitively said that. But now when I look back, I realize that if some student had told that to me, I would have definitely chosen him, because you just didn't answer the question. You understood that there is another possibility, and it was a creative way of looking at the same situation. So creativity can be in a variety of ways. It doesn't have to be just in terms of visuals. You can make models. You can make if you know how to cook egg. Like one student came up to me and said he knows several ways of cooking egg, and and he said you put this, you close it, you open it, you do all kinds of things. But he says I explore. So that ability to explore is also important. And so all these help in making you a holistic individual. And design is about connecting the dots and getting to understand what each thing is contributing to the final solution. So I think that's a very important aspect as well, to be able to assimilate all the various things and come to a definitive solution.
As we see that you've given us a lot of insights how to go about our thought process building, right? जो आपने सब बताया ये डे टू डे लाइफ में प्रैक्टिस करने से डेवलप होने वाली चीजें हैं, जिसको हम डे इन डे आउट अगर प्रैक्टिस करते हैं तो आई एम श्योर आज जो व्यूअर्स सुन रहे हैं दे वुड बी रियली एबल टू गेट द इनसाइट दैट एग्जैक्टली व्हाट इज getting those designer minds to exercise all this, right? So once you start practicing day in day out these things, and not only to crack the exam, but then you should think beyond it, because it's, as sir said, being a designer is becoming a problem solver, right? It is not drawing something that you feel like, या ऐसा नहीं है कि मुझे इस तरीके के कलर्स पसंद है या ये डिजाइन पसंद आ रही है इसलिए मैंने बनाया, देन यू बिकम एन आर्टिस्ट. तो ने बहुत राइटली डिजाइनर और आर्टिस्ट को भी बहुत अच्छे से डिस्टिंग्विश करके बताया कि हाउ यू शुड रियलाइज दैट आर यू अ फ्यूचर डिजाइनर मटेरियल, राइट? सो स्टार्ट वर्किंग ऑन द थिंग्स दैट सर टोल्ड यू राइट नाउ. एंड अनदर कॉमन क्वेश्चन दैट आई जनरली गेट is about majorly from the parents, do we have a stable career in design? क्योंकि अभी तक हमारे maybe neighbors, relatives have been into IT field, कोई abroad चला गया है, कोई बहुत अच्छी salary पे है. I'm sure that they also started with lesser salaries, but when they give examples to their kids, वो हमेशा बड़े पैकेजेस की बातें करते हैं, या इस तरीके के स्टेबल जॉब्स जो हम सालों से देख रहे हैं, which sometimes the education industry says that they are saturated engineering or things like maybe medical management. तो क्या हम ऐसा सही में है, या parents are why they are worried, why design is not seen as a stable career?
See, I didn't have a stable career as a designer, and I'm not regretting even one bit of that, because designer usually have a variety of likes, and and they want to explore a variety of things. So I've done craft-based products, I've done fashion-based products, I've done industry-based products, I've done a tractor, I've done a air cooler, I've designed a flashlight, I've designed wooden knobs for a desk. I've done a variety of work, and that comes from an unstable career, if you know what I'm saying. It comes from exploring a variety of opportunities. If you have the option of joining, say, Maruti Suzuki and designing one car after another car after another car, or you have the option of doing something like what I have done. So my experience has been richer because of the way I've worked in my field, and I have worked in 20 different states in this country. Products I've designed with artisans with 20 different states. So when I'm designing a product in Nagaland, It's very different from when I'm designing in Kerala. And but the experience kind of gives me the advantage to be able to look at something new and look at it afresh. And I think that's very important. So career, it's overrated. Jobs are overrated. And I believe that you can be a designer without having a job, and you can create jobs by setting up on your own and taking on more people under your wing. This entrepreneurship is something which comes naturally to designers. And so very often you'll see them setting up their own design studios or consultancies, and end up hiring more people than they're getting hired. So design has that capability. Designers will have that capability. The other thing to say is that, but if you want to do a job, there are plenty of jobs available. If you just look at Naukri.com and just go and key in design and see what are the kind of jobs that are available, it throws up design. I mean, LinkedIn, I get a request every other day saying that do you want a job on this? I mean, if I keep skipping, I can get several jobs in a year. So the opportunities are all there. It's for us to make use of it, and you can do it in a variety of ways, not just in one kind of a job.
First line that you said, that you don't regret being a designer, really struck me when I see people these days pursuing a career and not happy with it. So मुझे लगता है कि एजुकेशन ने शायद एक समय पे ऐसा टाइम देखा है जब डिग्री, जो हमने 3 इडियट मूवीज में बहुत राइटली स्टेट किया गया है कि डिग्री कुछ और ली, चाह कुछ और रहे थे, जॉब कुछ और कर रहे हैं, तो वो बहुत बड़े सेट ऑफ मतलब ईयर्स तक हुआ है, तो बहुत सारी जनरेशंस को हैम्पर किया. एंड वी सी अ लॉट ऑफ disheartened people working in big companies at very good designations, but still are not very happy, frustrated in life. So I feel this skillful job through a designer makes you really happy and keeps you energetic, because you're doing a new thing every time. It is not a monotonous job. So you would always love exploring, experimenting. और मुझे लगता है ये design as a stream आज के समय के बच्चों के लिए इसलिए भी apt है क्योंकि I feel these generations are more risk taking. They are not bound with मतलब ये पहले वाला question parents के perspective से था, but when I read students of this generation, they are more risk taking. They would like to explore. Fail हो गया कोई बात नहीं, I'll change my stream and do this. So this is something which is really nice and new to Indian education and this generation, that we have never seen this earlier. We were always bound with marks. We were always bound with degrees. We were always bound with jobs. So ये एक ऐसा stream है जो gives you a liberty to work, give you liberty to do maybe project works. आप entrepreneurial जा सकते हैं. You can do only online work. I'm sure, Bala sir, this digitalization and internet world has put a lot of impact in design industry.
Definitely, yes.
So do you feel that this should be a golden era for these kids to get into such a industry where they can explore?
Especially, I don't know about the golden era, but I know for a fact that there is enough and more than enough work in design. And people have, especially the IT industry. See, IT industry is much younger as an industry. So they are more current and they realize the value of what design brings to the table. And design is essentially value creation. So you can have a good app or a bad app, but it's still there. And with good apps, you realize the experience and it delights you. And you realize the difference between, sticking to a good app and leaving a bad app. There is a difference because of what design does to the app. So it's very important to, and IT industry has benefited a lot from this. And so there are jobs, because as much as IT industries are there are jobs. Startups, for instance, they start with a product and they need a packaging, they need a website, they need a marketing pitch, the decks have to be designed. And so there are in number of people who are doing this sort of things. I have in JKL, I have a thing called interdisciplinary designer. Now, the interdisciplinary designer is capable of doing a variety of work across the breadth of design. So if it is web design, it could be space design, it could be product design, packaging. And we'll take one area and work on it with more projects. So you can become a specialist in exhibition design, you can become a specialist of web design or any such thing. So this is being done so that the startup industry gets the kind of designer you want. Because if you're a startup, you won't go to 5 different designers. You won't go to a product designer, graphic designer, ad designer, and poster designer. You will need one person to deliver all of that. So, and design is essentially interdisciplinary. So I thought, why not start an interdisciplinary design? So that's how we have got it in our institute. But I think there is enough work potential for design across a variety of areas.
Right. As you said, interdisciplinary, it is really a great thing to listen to. And I am sure as an entrepreneur, I would like to really contribute to it, that when a organization is looking for contributors in their organization, they would really appreciate if there are people with multifaceted skills. पहले हम कहते थे कि मतलब मास्टर ऑफ ऑल होने से नहीं, जैक ऑफ वन होना चाहिए. But then I feel today is the time जहाँ जितनी चीजों के बारे में you can know and ace them is always going to be fruitful for you. So interdisciplinary, I can gauge that this kind of education is really going to make students more employable, more skillful. Now that these students have thought of design as an option, but there are still some predominantly given options to them. Would you like to just throw some light that how this kid should assess that is he made for this stream, or should he get into design as a stream for career?
So are you talking about a difference between another career and design, or within design, between product and graphics?
No, design or any other career, like maybe engineering or any other career.
Yeah. So engineering is one thing. It deals with a very cut and dry relationship of thing to thing. You know, the lid should fit. The thing should be safe. The product manufacturing is easy. So those are the kind of things the engineer looks at. A designer looks at the people to thing relationships. So is it easy on the eye? Is it safe? Is it good for the planet? And so whatever the user conveniences are, those are the aspects that's done by a designer. So if you look at it, both are important, but it's designer who puts the form of the product together, and he takes the help of an engineer. So in the hierarchy of things, the designer comes on top. And if you see in terms of in design thinking as a process, if you see, there are several designers who are contributing in strategy, strategizing for a company business. So how do they do that? They use the same process as designers do, and they come up with ideas for business. So how to market? For instance, if you've traveled by Indigo airline, they say that ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So that boys and girls is actually added to make it sound like a younger airline. Now that's a designer's decision actually. So there's a communication designer who works on it and says that you just adding that thing makes you a little younger than the other airlines. And so that's been taken very well. Although now it's 16 years old, but they still continue to say that, and everybody still thinks it's a younger airline. And they have packaging designed like sandwiches, hot sandwiches packed in a matchbox like box. Now that again is designed to, it's all funny. The whole thing is aimed at being funny and irreverent, which is like a teenager. So it works. So designers can contribute at a variety of levels. That's my point. And engineers will not have that. I mean, they will have a limited scope. They can, after becoming good at your work, you become a management person, and you get into finance and you get into marketing and things like that. But a designer is always a designer, whatever level he is in. He's always contributing creatively, and that's a hugely satisfying exercise. And I always say this: being a designer is transformative for you and for others. and that is much more than any salary can bring. That satisfaction that you get out of doing something well is much more valuable than getting higher salaries.
And before this question started, I really, it struck me that the another question that is generally being asked, that once I think of giving these exams, मैंने decide कर लिया कि मुझे design as a stream में जाना है, but then it gets difficult for me to understand which design stream. Because initially, when the student is not aware, fashion, interior, animation, some 3-4 names were there. But once he become aware about the industry, he knows, oh, there are so many options to get into. So exams are generic, but then once the further process start, he has to choose a stream. So is there a way that he can come to that conclusion, that what kind of design he
so there are
get into?
people who have a tendency to work with materials. And they can manipulate material. They take a wire, they'll start making something with the wire. If you have a paper, you'll fold it into a form of some sort. So those are the kind of people who will be good at an industrial design kind of a profession, product design, ceramic design, or furniture design sort of a thing. There are people who work with color very well. They know how color works, and they have observant about brand identities and all that. They know that if the Nike logo is wrongly put on a fake shoe, they're the ones who point it out, and they say that, oh, this is not right. This is a fake shoe. So that tendency to be able to observe and to realize the difference is a very graphic designer quality. And if you are into textiles or fabrics, and if you're the kind who will sit in Fab India and say, wonder, wow, how is this done? Or if you're the kind who will do a painting, but you'll focus on the dress more than the person. So there are several ways in which you can actually see for yourself as to what is the factor that draws you into a profession, and you can assess it yourself, based on all these things. Cues. There are cues that you get, and most design colleges, the first year is a foundation program, and you can go through the whole foundation and decide by the end of the foundation which stream you want to get into. So that's an advantage you can have as well. And so you can take that 1 year's time to decide what exactly you want to do. There are, again, there's one aspect which I missed out, is digital. There's some people are very savvy with digital stuff, and so they can code. I know a student who can code and make animation with coding, and so you can combine these talents and become a digital designer of sorts. So, like I said, you can be creative in a variety of ways, and that can actually lead up to a interesting discipline or profession.
Beautifully explained, sir. This question, I also always used to think that there has to be something I should be able to figure out for kids. And I'm sure these today viewers are really going to take away a lot of insights of these things with them. Now, one question comes when a student chooses the stream, gets into a college. He should know how rigorous the course is going to be, right? The first perception, बिकॉज एकेडमिकली ड्रिवन नहीं है, तो बच्चा कई बार ये सोचता है कि अरे ये तो मजे की लाइफ होगी, मैं ड्रॉ करूंगा, डिजाइन करूंगा, बट द फैक्ट इज डिफरेंट, द रियलिटी इज डिफरेंट. सो आई नो इट इज अ रिगरस लर्निंग स्केड्यूल, जैसा इंजीनियरिंग और बाकी थ्योरेटिकल कोर्सेज में नहीं होता, शायद उससे बियॉन्ड है, और इट इज 24/7 ऑन योर माइंड. क्योंकि मुझे लगता है कि एकेडमिकली जब आप कोई चीज प्रिपेयर करते रहते हो, यू ओनली थिंक अबाउट द projects to be completed, the assignments to be completed, पर यहाँ पे I guess the ideation से चीजें start हो रही है. So please throw some light on, because you've been part of so many colleges. Yeah. So a life of student in a design college and how they should prepare themselves. They should not think it's an easy course to do.
It's not easy at all. In fact, it's much more involving and engrossing. And once you get into it, you realize that there's a very funny quote which NID students used to have. It says, you think it was difficult getting into NID, try getting out of it. So the fact that you have to perform well to be able to graduate is a huge thing. And in my institute, we have our studios open till 3 in the morning, and students are working. They're working on assignments, they're working on things, projects together and all that. And they do it willingly. That's the interesting part. The fact that they are interested in design and they're willing to put that extra effort actually shows up, in their transcripts also. The fact that there are students who think that it's just fun and games. I have had interviews in NIFT I was in the NIFT interview panels for some time, for 5 years or so, and I've seen girls coming and saying, I like fabrics, and that's why I want to get into design. So I said, but can you stitch and sew? So they said, oh, you have to stitch as well. I said, yes, you have to sit at the like a darji, you have to sit and make your own garments. So she said, oh, I didn't know that. So I said, what do you think? Design is all about, walking on the runway and, making a swirl and coming out. So people think that it's all very, you just make a few sketches and somebody will make it for them and somebody will market it for them, etc. So it's a very skewed perception. And I think people should realize that it's a very serious profession, even fashion. It looks like frivolous, but it's a lot more than that. And it brings employment to a variety of people. It's exported to a variety of nations, and it's a very serious profession. People should not take design as a frivolous profession at all.
Right. In this talk, we started with why design, how design, and how you are going to see your life as designer in college and profession. So I think we tried touching all aspect of a student to becoming a designer through this questionnaire session. And I hope all the viewers will get some answers through these. We had asked our viewers to give up some questions to us so that we can answer if some of them are still unanswered. Bala sir, should I take some of the questions of the student?
Yeah,
yeah. One question has been Pooja Sahu had asked parents long career hai ki nahi, doubt kar rahe hain, which I took because I had this idea of this question coming from most of the students and parents. So Pooja, I feel you must have received the answer through this talk. One Nilay Jain has asked that he's preparing for NID and IIT for design. Science student hone ke karan he feels that with his academics and preparation, he sometimes is not very consistent. He likes drawing, he draws, but then is there a way that these students, because most of them are doing their schooling with these preparations, getting through the entrance examinations, would you like to guide them something, sir, how they should go about? Because something, one academics is they have to do it, and one is they want to do it. So then how should they balance it?
So I think that's a very interesting question, but you will end up doing things which you are interested in, right? You may be sitting in a biology class, but you may be drawing a fashion model or something like that, and that happens everywhere. And so the thing is to not focus so much on a coaching class. Maybe I don't know if that was going to be the answer, but make sure that you carry a sketchbook everywhere. You find something interesting, just record it. The way the woman carries water, or a vegetable seller, the way they've displayed the stuff. There is inspiration everywhere around. So if you carry a journal and record it, it gives you a very fresh, if you show it in the portfolio, it's a very fresh, your viewpoint, your observation, and your own work, instead of something like what a coach tells you to do, to draw a product, for instance, or you have two products, one mandala, one fashion icon, and one village view, is what most of the students come up with. I have been interviewing people for several years now, and so that is so whatever, done to death. But if you look at the fresh students coming up with, like a journal or something, like a set of photographs. Photographers, they carry a camera everywhere on now. Everybody has a camera on their mobile. So, but shooting an interesting picture is still a task, because everybody has a camera, but everybody is not a photographer. So the ability to see things is important. So I would request everybody to focus on those kind of areas, and for which you don't have to make time. If you're looking around with a mobile phone for a composition of some sort, you will find it everywhere, and you will understand and enjoy the whole process of finding a composition of elements into a frame, and the play of light with products and systems and things like that. So those are the things you should do. So if you're interested in don't do it for a career, and don't do it for an NID admission. Do it because you enjoy it, and that shows. When you enjoy doing something, it shows up in the work, whatever you do. So if you enjoy it, if you enjoy cooking, the dish turns out to be very good. So it's important that you enjoy it and not do it as a task to be completed. When that happens, everything falls into place. Then you don't think of time. मेरे पास time नहीं है, because you want to do it, so you'll find time. So
yeah. Nilay, I feel that, as sir said, that what interests you more, you will find time for it. So once I said that jo zaruri hai wo to karna hi hai, because beyond that you are looking for a career. So 12th pass karke hi we are going beyond it. So you'll have to balance it properly. The one key that I've seen in most of the students to work with time management, because that's something that today's youth is not able to do it because of so many digital distractions, and then there is pressure of education. So rightly said that everywhere, every time when you are sitting somewhere looking at something, I am sure that designer mind should start working. कहीं ना कहीं वो एक back of mind एक स्टोरी रन करती रहनी चाहिए कि इसका हर चीज का एक एस्पेक्ट, या जैसे एनआईडी में भी क्वेश्चंस आते हैं, बहुत डिटेलिंग में कुछ चीज आपको ड्रॉ करने के लिए आती है. सो आई वुड सजेस्ट, रादर देन ओनली assigning time for a specific thing, please keep on taking things on day in day out basis, live sketches, dedicate some time for sketching. I am sure that it is difficult, but just be assured that this is 1 or 2 years of your career where you really will have to push yourself and get the results. So इसी तरीके से अगर work करते रहेंगे तो I'm sure you will be able to take it forward properly. One more question, Bala sir, had come for you. Akanksha had asked, did you face any difficulty, as you said that you wanted to do architecture, but so did you face any difficulties preparing for architecture?
No, the question of preparing was not there so much in our times, actually. This prepping for tests is a new phenomenon. So I was keen on architecture, but I didn't prepare for it. I was not keen on design either, because I didn't know anything about it. Okay. It just so happened that I found out that there's a profession called design, and I thought I'll probably do a furniture design course, because that is something which I kind of understood. And product design is something which I thought is something like furniture design, and it include other products. I was quite close to the final meaning, but I was not aware of what is what. So I took a chance really with my career. You won't believe this, but I didn't apply to any other institute. I wanted to do this, and the universe just conspired and gave it to me. And I think I always tell this: design found me instead of me finding design.
Oh wow!
And yeah, so I've benefited from this whole thing. The fact that I was 17 when I joined NID, and I literally grew in that place, and in more ways than I actually grew taller, and I also understood the world through design. So it was a growth which I kind of relish. And so I mean, coming back to your point, I kind of tend to go all over, but coming back to your point, so there was no preparation, and if you notice, there are a lot of people who get in without preparation as well, because they know they're intuitively creative, and so it shows up in a variety of forms. And
we have realized in this time that students are engaged in so many things that they sometimes need somebody to channelize. So mentorship, I think, plays an important role
Definitely, yes.
where
Yeah.
they are looking forward. And I think not only kids, majority of kids, our education system has made these kids with a mindset that everything is going to come to them, right? So that intuitive, that instinct that you are saying dies out in a time, I guess. And that's the reason I see most of them need mentorship to understand how to go about it, because they are not able to gauge where to start, how to do it, the process of it, how much to do it. So I feel these days mentorship requires a lot of has a lot of importance to it.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I could get away with this, but my children and maybe my grandchildren may not be able to get away with it. Yeah. So,
With,
so I
with the
agree that yeah, you need mentorship. Yes.
yeah, with the I think uh, competition also, there are so many. And earlier the stream was also not that big for a layman to see how opportunities are going to come to him. Now that everybody is seeing that okay, design is one stream that even the governments are promoting. IIT Delhi has opened another, like, fifth campus. IIT has opened for design. So we are seeing the industry is growing. So I'm sure that more and more students, when start coming in, the competition grows. And I feel if you really want to fall in the top list, you really need to prepare well. All your answers for these questions were so passionate, sir. I could see your love for design and your life journey with design through your answers. I can see there are some questions which are very degree specific. So I would like to answer them separately, because that doesn't concern the topic that we are talking about. So any degree, animation degree, you can get into what kind of skill set you have. One student has asked if animation degree will get him into a Pixar or Disney or not. So
Yes,
my
yes,
yeah,
it will. Yeah, if you're good, you can get it. But see, any profession, I think it's very important to be good at it. And there's no place for second level and people who compromise. There is no place for them. If
correct,
you're dedicated and if you're good at something, it shows up. And if it shows up, it gets you the rewards that you need to get. And I'm telling you this, universe will conspire and give it to you. And you just have to believe, keep that faith and just do your thing. It will really work wonders.
correct.
And,
I
and
totally
yes,
agree.
talking about Pixar, the animation people, I know there are people who are working for Pixar. There's one guy who worked on the Titanic animation, and he's from NID, and he's now set up a studio in California, employing other animators. So it is possible, and so like I said, you have to be just good at it.
So this same student asked the question which you just answered, that can with an Indian degree we can work abroad. So you just answered that we can establish a like a studio if you have skills.
Yeah.
The first thing we started with design education, the best thing is that it is not mark specific. इसमें कोई मेरिट्स नहीं देख रहे हैं, इसमें आपका वर्क स्किल मेरिट देखा जा रहा है. So you get your promotions, your increments only on your work base. So if your work is good, you are going to go places. There are no boundaries, there are no frameworks. So this is the best part of design. कि आपके लिए कोई एक दायरा नहीं है जिसमें आप अपना करियर सोच सकते हैं. You can really fly well, go places. As we say, sky is the limit. So design can do that wonder to you. This was wonderful talking to you, sir. I'm sure that we are able to like answer most of you, some common queries that we took and which were beautifully answered by Bala sir. And I really thank you, sir, and for taking time and coming to our platform and talking to the viewers. And all the viewers, thank you very much for joining us today. If you want to come for such sessions, we make it a point to come up with such dignitaries and talk to you about important things in this industry and how to go about it. and anything relevant. So अगर आप ऐसा ही content सुनना चाहते हैं, ऐसी कुछ चीजें जानना चाहते हैं, तो हमारा YouTube channel subscribe करें, and you'll get all the information on that. Thank you very much, sir. I
Thank
would
you,
really like
Sonali.
to, yeah.
I don't
thank
know
you
if I kind of wavered or not, because I'm a storyteller and I tend to go from one to another. But
No, it was
I think
wonderful.
overall it was. I think I met your requirement, and I'm
It was
sure
wonderful. Yeah,
the
it was
viewers enjoyed it.
wonderful talking
I
to you.
enjoyed it too. So I mean, for me, I enjoy talking about design, and
We'll
so
still
now
be
there's a
in
willing
touch.
audience. So I thought I'd take a chance.
We'll stay in touch. So we would really want you to come back and talk to us about more things in design and
Sure,
design industry.
yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank
Take
you
care.
very much. Thank
Bye.
you, viewers. Thank you very much.